and the speakers. Those who all are present here, kindly note down the email ID I have mentioned in the comment box. If you have any unpublished research papers regarding well-being, global well-being, you can send in on ojha_sandhya@yahoo.com. Feedback links will be available after 3 days of the workshop, and certificates will be available by 1st of July.
आवाज आ रही है? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
भारत में भर दे कलुष भेद तम हर प्रकाश भरे कलुष भेद तम हर प्रकाश भरे जगमग जग कर दे
Thank you so much for presentation. ये दौर भी गुजर जाएगा, फिर एक बार हर इंसान मुस्कुराएगा। मायूस होना इस बुरे वक्त से कल आज है और आज कल हो जाएगा। Concerning the global pandemic, COVID-19, Dr. Sandhya Ojha organized such a beautiful webinar. Such a beautiful webinar on well-being. This webinar includes 2 days workshops. Yesterday we started with person who have overcome, where Professor Agrasen talked about how well-being can be affected positively or negatively. Then our speakers also gave us many of the ideology on well-being and talked about the challenges and issues are experienced in COVID-19 lockdown and post-lockdown days. I will thank Dr. Mahila ma'am, the patron of the international webinar and principal Shri Agrasen Mahila PG College, Varanasi, India. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your keen interest in the webinar and your support for the webinar. I will now like to invite Dr. Sandhya Ojha ma'am, the organizing secretary of the webinar, Associate Professor, Department of Psychology, Shri Agrasen Mahila PG College, Varanasi, India. Ma'am, please give us the outlay of the today's program.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Today, my first presentation is by Dr. Sachin Jain from USA. And after that, uh, Dr. Kamal U.A. Chaudhary from Bangladesh. And he is Associate Professor from Department of Clinical Psychology, Dhaka University, and Program Director, Nasirullah Psychotherapy Unit, Bangladesh. And Dr. Gol Krishna Nanda sir, former Principal, Kamala Nehru Women's College, Bhubaneswar, Orissa. And after that, Sanghmitra Sau Sen Gupta ma'am. She is health psychotherapist and she belonged to Kolkata. And after that, Dr. Dimpy Mahanta, she belonged to international webinar, Shri Anil Kumar Jain sir. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Akriti. And now I hand over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the outlay of the program and as well as the energy you filled in us. वो सुकून नहीं मिलता किसी दवा या दुआ से, जो सुकून मिलता है बनारस की आबो हवा से। काशी की धरती पर आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत है। I will now take the legacy to invite the mainstream, Dr. Sachin Jain. Sir is Director and Associate Professor, University of Providence, Great Falls, MT, United States. The topic of discussion is work-life balance in higher education. Sir, please come on the main screen.
Okay, so are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Okay, so do you want me to start or do you want me to wait for a few more minutes?
No,
So we can't see you.
Sir, please come on the main screen. You are not visible, but you are audible.
Okay, let me just turn the video on. Is this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So today for the presentation, I'm going to, my plan was to integrate research in the daily practices I session, but we can do that sometime later. So in today's session, I'm just going to start off with the basic practices, then the values which I implement in my life, and the techniques that have helped me to create the work-life balance.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. This is Priyanka for your assistance. Do you want me to play your presentation right now?
Yes, that will be great.
प्रियंका मैम को मेल किया है अभी जस्ट मॉर्निंग में
Yes, sir. Should I play it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And I'm just turning off the video just in case the internet slows down or the bandwidth is less. Okay, so I'm just waiting for
Can
an
you see
okay
my
for the
screen?
PowerPoint.
Can you see the screen?
I don't see the PowerPoint at my end.
Okay.
But I still have my PowerPoint on the other laptop, so I don't need to see. If participants can see, that is more important.
Is presentation visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. I can see.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. It is.
Okay.
Where we see like 5 different geometrical figures. So when we talk about work and life, sometimes we think they are completely separate. But in reality, when we integrate it, the picture is completely different than when we consider it all separate. Just like the Gestalt theory, like integration of the whole is way more bigger than sum of its parts. So most of my presentation will be an overlap on the practices which I do even in my personal life and how that helps me in my work in higher education. So right now I'm on the slide 5. The title is Daily Practices. So my practices are in 5 different components, and those are components which research have shown to boost the resiliency. And as we all know, for the prerequisite of well-being is resiliency. The stronger our resiliency, the higher our well-being will be. So the 5 components are physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and creative aspects. And on a regular basis, I try to intentionally create activities on all those 5 components, because unless we are engaged in those activities, it's really tough to boost the resiliency. So for the physical component, I try to do workout. It could be either strength training, could be cardio. And one of the concerns I have always heard from participants or my colleagues is like, we never have enough time. So you can just Google Tabata. Tabata is a 4-minute workout. And if you can start with that, research have shown like that 4-minute have similar effect on the body like a 20-minute cardio. So that could be a good start if physical activity is not part of your daily lifestyle. For the emotional and social aspects, I try to spend time with friends, I spend time with kids, checking in with colleagues, try to join some social clubs, county councils like volunteering for the city, volunteering for other social activities. So that could help to boost our emotional and social resiliency. For the spiritual aspects, meditation, praying, yoga, fasting, reading scriptures, and discussing existential issues with, like, from a different varied age group. So it could be like teenagers, it could be my mentors, it could be some friends. So the important part is when we discuss it with a different age group, we get to address the different components of those existential issues. The final component which I really focus on is the creativity. So for creativity, research have shown one good way to improve creativity is free writing. So you just put a timer, like a stopwatch, do 30 minutes and just do free writing. Like whatever is coming in your mind, you just keep typing it. The other way to enhance creativity is travel. For me, I practice flute. That's another aspect. And then learning languages. So if you are not familiar with the program called Duolingo, so it's a free program you can download and depending on your interest, you can learn any new language. So if you can spend 30 minutes on the creative aspects, that really helps to boost that aspect of the resiliency. Now, research have shown there is a huge overlap in all those 5 components. So these are not like stand-alone components. So the more we can do on each and every component, that strengthens all those 5 components. Now let's move to the next slide on challenges. So just like when moving to an advanced level while playing video game, our skills improve. Similarly, life challenges present as an opportunity to improve our skills in the life. So that's how I see challenges when they present. Challenges will always be there until we are alive. We are never going to have. There will be spans, so there could be like weeks or months when we are in the state of not challenges, but just like how current challenge of COVID-19, there will always be challenges which will be part of our life until we are alive. The key is how we respond to them. That will make a big difference where our life shapes up. Now let's move to the next slide on values. So the 5 key values which I implement in my life. First one is lifestyle, second is vitality, perseverance, service about self, willpower, and optimism. And the next few slides, we are going to go in depth in each and every of those values. So when I think of a lifestyle, like my preference have been living a minimalist lifestyle and using the principles of behavioral therapy, particularly the delayed gratification, even though our brain prioritizes instant gratification over long-term gains. But training my brain for delayed gratification have helped me to secure resources for any emergencies. Evolutionary instant gratification makes sense, but not as a modern human being. So when we were cave dwellers and if we were thirsty, it made sense to find the nearest source for water. But now in the modern lifestyle, we can plan in a way better way, since most of the factors we can predict most of the times. So even though financial freedom is not my primary purpose to adopt such a lifestyle, but it has been a byproduct of such a lifestyle. Financial freedom also have made it easier to implement my other life values. So as research have shown, the first, or even as if you see Maslow's hierarchy, meeting the basic primary needs, particularly having the financial freedom, that really helps to improve the quality of life and our well-being. The next part of my lifestyle, so having the financial freedom, that helps me to create and live in more states of flow. So one of the principles, the Pareto principle, it suggests 80% of the results comes from 20% of the effort. Even though in our modern lifestyle, we think the more time we are spending in the job, that shows the productivity, but research have shown it's not about the time, it's about the quality of effort. So to monitor the quality of effort, I always work in 35-minute cycle. And the technique which I use is called Pomodoro technique. That helps me to avoid attention residue, and that increase the duration and frequency of being in the states of flow. So for example, like when I'm grading student papers, so I will again put a timer for 35 minutes. And when the timer goes off, I just take 5 minutes to reflect on what I was able to achieve in those 35 minutes. And if there was a lot of attention residue, by attention residue, I mean where our thinking and our effort is not aligned with the task on hand. So for example, if I'm grading my student papers and my mind is wandering about trip to India or wandering about impact of COVID-19, so that is showing that I'm not using that 35 minutes which were assigned to grade papers for the task in hand. So then the next 35 minutes I'm more intentional in using the time for the task which I want to really achieve. in those 35 minutes. McKinsey Bank, they just did a study with their executives, and they reported in their 10-year study, they found top executives reported being 5 times more productive when they work in the states of flow. Again, like research have shown, the more we can live in the states of flow, that helps us to rejuvenate physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I always joke with my students, either when I teach in high school or in college, magic only happens in Disney movies. So if you are not taking intentional steps, things don't change on their own. So when we talk about ants, automatic negative thoughts, which is very common being as a human, our mind sometimes tend to go in the survival mode and tend to focus more on the negative thoughts. But once we create more awareness, we can take actions to stop and overcome those automatic negative thoughts. And it is really important to follow up the high cycle of concentrated efforts by deep recovery cycles. So those could be some of the guilty pleasures, like one day a week we can just eat ice cream. Or for me, like just going for massages, acupuncture sessions, personal counseling, meditation, having a good sleep. Those are all part of deep recovery cycle. Because if our body is not able to recover, then it will be really tough for us to be productive or to be happy or to have a good overall well-being. Now let's move to the next slide of vitality. Vitality for me is the optimal environment for fostering healthy inner mechanism of body, including gut health, cellular level, etc., resulting in high energy levels. If one is not taking care of themselves, then they cannot take care of anybody else. So combination of good fitness and slots of time of concentrated effort, as I shared in the previous slide, using the Pomodoro techniques, helps me to slow down, to focus and enjoy different aspects of the life in the moment. It also gives me enough time for continued professional growth and personal growth, as we saw in the previous slide. Like the more we can stay in the states of flow, our productivity is 5 times more. So we have more time for personal and professional growth outside the expectations, just the work-related expectations. The other researches in biological sciences have shown the more we can incorporate the components of resiliency, the efficient is our ATP production. Now ATP have the same role just like how the batteries have in our external world. So they store energy. So our body uses the energy through ATP. So the more efficiently our body can make ATPs, the easier access our body have to the consistent energy sources. Let's move to the next slide. Service above self. I'm really passionate about. Yes.
Sir, sorry to interrupt in between. Sir, kindly conclude.
Okay. So.
Yes, sir.
Sure. So again, like you will all have access to the PowerPoint, but all I want to say, like there is no one magic bullet to create an overall state of well-being, as we address the 5 components: the physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and creative aspects. If we can focus on those in our personal life and then think of ways to bridge those skills from personal life to professional life, that will create a healthy balance. And the more balanced life we have, the higher our well-being. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for a fruitful presentation. In a very short span, you explained it very beautiful manner. Today, you discussed about how the cardio exercises can improve our well-being, and also you talked we do not have any kind of bullet that can automatically shoot our well-being and regulate our well-being. Thank you, sir, to enlighten us about such a fruitful topic. Thank you so much, sir. So Our next speaker is right here on time, Dr. Kamal U.A. Chaudhary. He is Associate Professor, Department of Clinical Psychology, Dhaka University, and Program Director, Nasirullah Psychotherapy University, Dhaka University, Bangladesh. Respected sir, your topic is tools to thrive amidst globe crisis, mental health, challenges, and issues. Welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible and visible, both. Perfect.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Warm greetings from Dhaka, Bangladesh. It's a very warm, bright, and sunny day today. Unlike the previous day, it was raining. And, in Bangladesh, we are also going through the current pandemic as much as, or it's getting worse actually, in your country and in other South Asian country. But right now we are going through really difficult times because the infection rate is getting increasing every day. So today I'm going to share my thoughts and offer a presentation on tools to thrive amidst this global crisis and the mental health issues and challenges. But before starting, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me here today to offer me time to share my thoughts. And I thank all the respected scholars, other participants who are here today for the valuable presentation. I would also like to thank my previous presenter, Dr. Sachin Jain, who beautifully offered his views, and in some way his presentation he has already talked some of the topics I wanted to share, because he also mentioned the importance of care and personal practices that we can undertake to manage the stress. So I would like to start my presentation, and let me check if I can share. It's not coming. Just a minute, second.
Sir, do you need any assistance? So do you need any assistance?
Let me check first. I think I'll be able to manage. Let me.
Ms. Priyanka is there to assist you if you need.
Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
Visible?
We can see.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So, as I was telling, it's tools to thrive amidst global crisis, mental health challenges, and issues. But before we thrive, before we prosper during these difficult times, we need to be aware of what is blocking us to thrive. We need to. Sorry. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, it is audible and visible both.
So we need to understand what's actually blocking us, what's also, actually not helping us to grow, develop, and thrive. So let me offer my perspective. We now have some, fears. That fears was unknown to us even few months ago, when before it's all started back in December, January, and everything coming to a halt by lockdown, quarantine, social distancing, and many other things that we were not so familiar before. And this generation, the population were not, in a position to understand the impact a virus can cause to humankind and society. So we now have something new in our already huge list of situation things that provokes fear. So we now have the fear of being infected, and not only that, also the fear of dying. It's not that uh, we won't, the dying fear was also there, but we can now visibly see people getting infected, and some people unfortunately cannot make this out alive. So we also have the fear of close or dear someone being infected, not only for myself, but also the fear is spreading for our important and close family members, friends, and community members. And then we also have a list of other things that's bothering, that's preventing us to interact or be productive or be efficient, like for anxiety. As a psychologist, we know that anxiety reaches an optimal level, stays there for a while, and then starts subsiding. Is the same. Maybe the anxiety was pretty much there even a few months ago, but right now we have many of us have come to terms with the anxiety. We now have learned to live with the anxiety. We are taking necessary precautions, but not everyone is so well adept at handling and managing anxiety. It has been considered, many research has been going on, and anxiety is one of the topmost problem that human beings we are facing right now. And the second one is, in addition to anxiety, also boredom and loneliness. Many studies have confirmed this, that people under lockdown or quarantine are going through phases of loneliness and boredom, and that's sometimes resulting in depression. Another common issue that we are experiencing is the breaking down of our usual routine and structure. We Before that, we used to have a structure in our life. We know every day we had some plans. We woke up, we prepared for our work. Each one of us had certain sets of rules and structure. A student going to school, college, university, an employee visiting their office, a factory worker visiting the factory for work, but everything now under halt. So we are suddenly faced with lack of structure in our lives and resulting in confusion, anomalies in our daily certain rules and regulation. Some of us are sleeping more while some of us are sleeping less. That's another issue causing problem. As a result, some of us are developing problems of coping. We are not coping well. Some of us are not coping well with lockdown and quarantine situation. Some of us even don't understand what's lockdown mean, what's quarantine situation. In my country, for example, many people didn't even understand what's lockdown mean. They thought it's some kind of going out, but not not walking on the other side of the street, one side of the street, and not talking with people, but going out. So the meaning was the problem of not coping well also increases the risk of getting infected. And there's also the situation, people who could understand, who take this practice in their lives are now stuck in a confined situation or space. For example, in many cities, it's the same as in your country. In many cities, people live in small houses without much exposure to outside, like open spaces. So in that case, people are getting more confined, like a prison-like experience they are having. And then for some people, maintaining social distancing is extremely difficult. That is very true in our country. People still do not understand the reason and exact meaning of social distance. They're still going on talking with people, shaking hands, hugging, and don't even care the problem it might cause getting near to someone. And then there's restlessness and fatigue, as I have already mentioned. Some people are irritable and mood swing is common. Withdrawn and depressed is another thing. We are seeing very many instances in social media where people are complaining of feeling lonely, depressed. And then another unfortunate outcome of this situation is the anger and passive aggression resulting in violence. In a recent research conducted in Bangladesh, it has been reported that the incidence of domestic violence increases manyfold, and of the about 5,000 people were included in that study, and majority reported of experiencing domestic violence, and some of them even complained that this is the first time in their life they face something like domestic violence. And the final issue is the grief and bereavement. Some of us are losing important family members, and that's the grief and bereavement is a normal part of human life. But in this situation, the actual process of grief and bereavement has been challenged, has been hindered, because we all have, in all culture, in all religion, we have certain sets of rituals and practice when someone passes away. We meet the family, we do some codes, we do some practices, we do some rituals. In this case, people aren't being able to visit family members who have lost important family members. They haven't been able to see the face of their loved ones even due to information of corona infection spreading. So this is another big area I think we psychologists need to think of even after the pandemic, because a lot of people will be left without proper processing of grief and bereavement. As we all know, humankind has faced many challenges, many wars and battles in previous centuries. We did have, and we're still going on in some places, the political wars, civil unrest, and there's social and economic disruption. We are working on empowering of human values, and we have abolished certain inhuman practice like slavery. We are working on preventing and protecting people, the issues of trafficking and oppression of human rights. We have faced many disasters, natural and man-made, and we have overcome the challenges this poses on humankind. We have faced pandemic even before in the 1900s, in the early 1900s, 18th. We know the Spanish flu, which eradicated millions of people, and a lot of people got infected at the time. But we have overcome those challenges. Humanity came out as victorious, and the battle is still going on. But we are always progressing for improved social and family life. Our knowledge is expanding. Our knowledge in psychology is helping humankind prosper and thrive. And the resilience is another important issue we work on, and that is another important human quality to overcome many challenges.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. It's a humble request. Kindly
Sorry? Is time over?
Yes, sir. Sir, only
I thought it's 15 minutes. Anyway, so let me just in a few words, we have our own inner strength and ability, but we need to deal with many of the issues that are coming, like as I have mentioned, there's an issue that we need to work, but we also have our strength like empathy, compassion, kindness, tolerance, tenacity, and then we have positive regard, respect, helping attitude, resilience, and then we have to understand the situation and be aware that we do not lose control on our fear and learn to adjust and adapt with the situation. It is also important, even for psychologists, that to seek support when necessary. We are not immune from the pandemic or normal stresses of human life. So we sometimes need to support each other when necessary, and then practice some, spiritual well-being and healthy practices like mindfulness, meditation, yoga, and use some of our techniques that we support other people through relaxation exercises. And then we also need to work with our views and thoughts and beliefs, looking at things from different perspectives, and look for the positive, the silver linings amidst the clouds of stress and disaster. Challenging our own unhelpful thought is also important, and then we also can employ our intelligence and other abilities. And finally, we need to find out and do something new. We need to learn something new during these times, and we help ourselves, we involve ourselves, we engage ourselves to make something new. So that is all from my presentation. I hope I managed it in time. Thank you again for the participants and everyone for giving me the time.
Thank you so much, sir, for the topic you elaborated and summarized in a very short span. It's highly appreciable. Today you taught, do something new, make something new, and learn something new. Personally, it was my dissertation too. Thriving was my dissertation too. When I was pursuing my PG diploma in counseling and psychotherapy, I hope this topic has connected many of us like me and our virtual participants too. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I will now take the legacy to call on the main screen Dr. Gol Krishnananda, who is a former principal, Kamala Nehru Women's College, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, India. Topic will be elaborated is Let Us Be Happy. Sir, please be on the main screen.
Namaskar.
Naam, sir.
Jai Jagannath. Today, it's a very good day for all of us that we are meeting in a very crucial time, and the topic that we have chosen is Let Us Be Happy. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. You are visible and audible both.
Yeah. Fine. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Kamal, sir, kindly switch off your mic, please. It's a humble request, sir.
So let us be happy. Happy people are not happy because everything is right in their life. They are happy because their attitude towards life and everything is right. So in this nowadays, people are facing tough challenges across the globe, facing challenges in the way of life, and way of life of the person, of every person differs. Some people try to search the abstract meaning of life, while others search for meaningful meaning of life. Each situation is life represents a challenge. The person has to come out, solve challenges, tasks meaningfully to be happy. It is a subjective enjoyment, feeling of one's life as a whole. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life. All creatures in this universe suffer and seek relief from pain. That is called dukkha or sorrow, tapa or meditation, pleasure or affliction, causing misery, agony, and sufferings. Every creature is an ocean consisting of 6 urmis. That is shoka or grief. Urmi means waves, like that comes in the ocean. Shoko, grief, moho, confusion, kut, anger, pipasha, thirst, jara, aging, and mrityu, death. An individual who can overcome such waves meaningfully may be happy. Some thoughts of ancient Indian schools and books. Vedanta, Mimamsa, Sankhya, Vaishesha, Yoga, that includes Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi, and Charvak's concepts. Also, there are great sayings of great Indian people of past and some isms. Buddha, Jaina, Vaishnava, Saiva, Shakta, Tantra, and many others. They have highlighted how to overcome pain and get relief to be happy. Happy people are not happy because everything is right in their life. They are happy because their attitude towards life is right. There are some sources of happiness. Very briefly, I would like to put forth before the August audience. Physical, psychological, social, intellectual, emotional, vocational, and environmental. There are some determinants of happiness: personal, marriage, social support, economic status. There are some theories of happiness. So many theories are there, and goal satisfaction theory, process activation theory, and many theories are there, and include up to self-actualization. I would like to concentrate that the way Indians perceive happiness, starting from the ancient days. Happiness, we say it is ananda, which is an integral part of self or atma, that is supreme. It exists within individual. Taittiriya Upanishad presents the story of a Bhrigu who approached his father Varuna to learn about self and a collective self, that is the Brahma. The teaching of Varuna to Bhrigu led the latter step by step to realize that first matter, that is Arnam iti Brahma, second vital breath, Prana iti Brahma, third mind, Mana iti Brahma, fourth knowledge, intellect, Vijnana iti Brahma, fifth bliss, Ananda iti Brahma. It means lifeless matter and the blissful spirit are two infinitely extreme points of a single continuously scale to be happy. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna has explained to Arjun that among three types of knowledge, tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic, only sattvic knowledge can lead to happiness. Sukhasva nudvikna manaha, sukhesu vigata svaha, vitaragam bhaya krodha, stitire tu niruchyate. An individual who does not fear in sorrow, not too happy at the time of pleasure, free from anger, fear, is sthiti prajna, self-actualized, happy, or ananda. Ancient rishis, saints, philosophers, great individuals successively have studied, observed, and viewed that sustainable, that is permanent well-being, happiness is attainable. Bhagavan Buddha has taught all this from his experience through four noble truths, eightfold paths, that is Ashtanga Marga, 10 evils, and Dhyanam, what you say, Vipassana. Sankhya tells us overcoming sorrows and sufferings are possible through destruction of egoism, which is the most important thing that we should take into consideration. So we should take into our own view, and the destruction of egoism and the practice of yoga. There are mainly 8 types of yoga: yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, through which one can attain happiness. Patanjali's theory of consciousness is based on Vedanta. Those are mineral, vegetable, animal, intellectual, and spiritual. Vedanta states that Atma, the individual self, is the innermost being covered with 5 sheaths or 5 koshas. That is the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. That is the blissful or that is happiness. So these are the few things that the Indian approaches towards happiness. If we can overcome pain and if you can overcome all these things, then these things can lead us to happiness. There are some tips to happiness. That's life is what you make it. Take personal responsibility. Avail opportunity to make others happy. Love all, serve all. All the things are there. There are so many tips are there. That's why gratitude is not only a virtue, it is the guide to be happy. So let us let us express our gratitude to a thing, to an object, or to the matter to which we have obtained from some source at some level. That's why Indian approach of getting to be happy is more considerate, is more easier than any other approach. There are various theories, various approaches of Western approaches, but to me, Indian approach is a very good one to be happy. If and meditation and vipassana, all the things they help the individual to be happy. If you overcome the sorrows and the sufferings and concentrate by serving people, they develop the attitude towards showing the gratitude and developing an attitude to express gratitude can leave an individual to be happy. So with this, let everyone live happily. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Indian view that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, everyone should live happily in this universe. That is the concept propounded by Indian saints, Indian philosophers, and that can lead, that can give the way to everyone to be happy. And the self-actualization theory that was propounded by Maslow and many other Western theories, they have gone in a different way. But Sri Aurobindo's approach of arriving supra-consciousness through different layers is possible. And if one can meditate, if one can concentrate, if one can take the life very leisurely but meaningfully, then it is possible to arrive and it is to become happy. So Indian philosophers have spread the message of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, and that's why we can say in a Krishna Yajurveda, Kathopanishad, it clearly stated that Om Shahana Vavatu Shahano Bhunaktu Sahavirjankaravavahe Tejasvinam Vidhite Mastum Ma Vidvishavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This very Om is omnipresent and it can lead anyone towards happiness. And thank you. Any question? I shall be able to be answered.
Thank you so much, sir, for a stress-bursting session. The session was so full of fun. Your humbleness and positive attitude will make everyone remember your teachings for their entire life to deal with a stress-free situation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next in the queue is health psychologist Sanghamitra Saul Sen Gupta ma'am. She is a health psychologist, psychotherapist, Kolkata, India. Her topic is mindfulness and meditation. Before she starts, I would like to say something. Kolkata is a city of beauty. Kolkata is beautiful. Wherever you place a camera, you get a vision. Please, ma'am, take your place on the main screen and start the presentation with your beautiful smile. Ma'am, please unmute your mic.
Namaste to everyone. Thank you, Sandhya Ojha ma'am, to give this opportunity in a platform of so learned professionals, so as to present my presentation as well as my views on mindfulness and meditation. And my regards to you all the speakers here, all the participants here. Very good morning and namaste. So now I will present mindfulness and meditation. I don't know here how to show my presentation because I am practicing on Zoom. Oh no. Okay.
Priyanka, ma'am, you got it?
Yes, ma'am, you are on laptop or using it on mobile?
Laptop.
Okay, just right below there is a screen. Present now. Just touch that screen.
Yeah, I have touched. There is coming your entire screen. A window at home tab.
Select your entire screen.
Entire screen. Yes.
Okay. Next, there will be an option.
Share. But
No,
share.
not share. Share is freezed, na? First, touch that window. No. Just touch that window. The share will become active. Then you can share.
Just what I have to do is.
There is a window.
Yes.
Just touch that window.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. Okay.
So is it visible?
Yeah, this is visible.
But I not.
Ma'am, sorry, I'm interrupting in between. If
Yes.
someone is having any tea break or lunch break, kindly switch off your camera, then have your tea break and lunch break. If someone is having tea break or lunch break, kindly switch off your camera, then take your lunch break and tea break. Thank you so much. Ma'am, please go ahead.
So I don't know. Is it visible? But I'm not.
Ma'am, it
Yes,
was
yes.
visible
Yes,
earlier.
ma'am.
Yes.
Visible.
Okay. So. So it is about mindfulness and meditation. So we all know. So I am audible.
Yes, ma'am.
So we all know that we are passing through so much stress, anxiety, depression, panic, self-harm, suicidal ideation, suicides during this COVID-19 pandemic. Here, as a normal person, we are disturbed because we never have this type of experience previously. So we react with fight, flight, freeze, fog, out of survival, and out of an inability to contain our emotional responses. Because we know, according to World Health Organization, more than 300 million people are suffering from depression this moment, and we are losing one person in every 40 seconds. So out of suicides. In present scenario, so many eminent high-profile people has committed suicides. So this reveals that there is a very less awareness of mental health in our human society. So what is missing? Mental health education is missing. It should be taught in every family, schools, colleges, universities, organizations, corporates, and also self-realization, self-analysis, education about self is also missing, because we can see that what we are doing is more referential, but we have to come back to our self-referential model. So this is because we are not body, we are not physical body, we have a physical body, we are not mind, we are not thoughts, we are not feelings, but we have thoughts and feelings. So we are actually consciousness, eternal consciousness, which is very joyful and blissful. In Sanskrit, it's called Satchitananda. So what is happening is we are present in our physically, we are present, our body is present, but mentally we are either in the present, past or in the future. So what we can do is we can also also with the body, we can also integrate our mind and feelings, right? And this is the state of the mindfulness. So how to practice mindfulness meditation? Because we can mindful in our daily life, like we can have a mindful working, we can have a mindful shower, we can have a mindful eating, we can throughout the day we can practice mindful, but before that we should go for mindfulness meditation so that we can retrieve as it is needed in our daily life. This concept is derived from Buddhism. It is a lifestyle choice and it is experiential. So it's the main thing in mindfulness is intention. Intention of being non-judgmental, because we have our left hemisphere, the brain, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of our brain has different functions. So we are always very judgmental because of our 10% conscious brain that is analytical, methodical and very logical, but the right brain, it is more about visualization, our intuition and artistic and creativity. So we are actually, because we use our more the cognitive brain, so we are judging every time. So this practice makes us non-judgmental so that we can balance our two hemispheres of our brain. So there are three, you can see the three petals are there, which comprises of awareness, acceptance and attention. Awareness of what? Awareness of our thoughts, awareness of our feelings, awareness of our physical sensations, awareness of our inner experiences as well as outer experiences, and accepting as they are. And with the attention, and always bringing the attention towards our breath. Whenever something is happening, how to bring back our attention towards breath, not reacting, but responding effectively in external situation as well as internal, any feelings in the maybe any thought, negative thought, conditional thought, maybe any wastage thought, so that we can respond properly, but not reacting, but accepting. Because if we can accept our mind, then only we can go beyond mind, and consciousness is beyond mind, and that is very powerful. So the wisdom is not in the mind, but beyond mind. So, but the journey is from physical body to mind and beyond mind. So, because I was thinking of giving an experiential meditation. Are you ready to take that? It will take few minutes. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you ready to take are you ready to have some experiential meditation? Then I can take few minutes to give that.
Yes, ma'am. You can go ahead. You have time.
Okay. So so let us there are previous to meditation, it is better to have some micro yoga or some stretching. But here, because of so less time, so you can do it at your home, because now we have to slow down, and also this can boost up our lung capacity as well as our immunity system, so, and also can give us relaxation. So this meditation, first for any meditation, first what we can do is, first we can do some micro yoga or some stretching and come back. So you are on your seat, please just sit in a proper relaxed posture. In your seat, maybe on sofa or maybe on chair, maybe on your mattress, just relax. Bring back your body, come to the present moment. Now, because this meditation is observing the breath, and we have to go for connecting our breathing pattern. So, firstly, what we have to do is just have a conscious normal breathing. 4 normal breathing, and 5th one is a long one. Just do it. 4 normal breathing. Consciously, no judgment. Don't judge. If the breathing is slow, it's slow. If the breathing rate is high, it's high. If the breathing is coming through one nostril, this intention is non-judgmental. So don't judge. Just Observe, be aware of your breath and observe your breath. 4 conscious breathing and 5th one long. Each type 2 sets. Here we will do only 1 set, but at home you can do 2 sets. Now be aware of the environment around you. This is the grounding process. Be aware of your physical body and the weight, and be aware where you are sitting. The touch of the sofa or the chair or the mattress, and the touch of your feet over the ground and floor. Feel the touch. Come back to your body. And now observe your breathing. How it is, how you are breathing, and no judgment. Maybe it is deep, maybe it is shallow. Just observe. Now listen to the sounds, nearby sounds and the faraway sounds. Any sound nearby and far away without judgment, without any judgment. You can close your eyes or you can open your eyes to see 5 colors around you very attentively. If you are closing your eyes, you can see colors inside also. The colors are also visible inside as well as outside. Now just observe your thoughts. Observe your thoughts without any reactions. Just accept as they are. This is 100% acceptance meditation, non-judgmental meditation. Accept as they are. If any physical sensation is coming, accept as it is. Because our purpose is not to judge. Our purpose is mindfulness, to be mindful. So the mindful about our inner experiences and outer experiences. Be in this state. It is 20 minutes meditation, but here we will come back. So now again come back to your outer environment and again listen to the nearby sounds and the faraway sounds and the 5 colors in your around you and your body weight and your touch of the feet in the ground or the touch in the sofa. Come back. Now, just rub your palms to palm and give the warmth to your eyes, to your forehead, to your heart center, and to your navel point. This is experiential mindfulness meditation, and there are some few slides. Now again we will come back to the PowerPoint. Here we can see that self is aware of thoughts. That thought may be negative, that thought may be conditioned, that thoughts may be of negative feelings, and not thoughts, or feelings may be not negative, and also we are aware of the physical sensation. This reveals that we are not mind, but beyond mind, we are self. And this is self-awareness, and the peace of mind is here. This is the true self, not the ego self. There are 2 selves, ego self and true self. This is the true self. And it is written in the Vedanta also, Mundaka Upanishad. If you go through Mundaka Upanishad, you will get, there are 108 Upanishads. Mundaka Upanishad is one of them. So we are so powerful, eternal consciousness we can get here. And also we can balance after that. the ego self and the true self and our mind externally as well as our internal responses.
Sorry to interrupt in, ma'am. Ma'am, kindly conclude.
Yeah. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, the previous speakers also told about that. We can go to the self-analysis, self-realization, because Lord Krishna is the first psychoanalyst. And Arjuna was just, you can understand, a client. And so we can take insight from Bhagavad Gita to resolve our conflicts in this present situation as well as in context to life. So this helps in mind, body, spiritual connection and coherence, and as a result, overall well-being, health, and life urge. Because negative feelings are very stronger than positive feelings. Negative thoughts are stronger than positive thoughts, as well as death urge, which is in our unconscious, that is very powerful than life urge. So if we can practice these mindfulness and other meditations, so we can life urge can dominate the death urge, and we can have a very healthy, happy, and balanced life. But it is very important that mindfulness and meditation is not for serious mental and psychiatric diseases, because the patients who are suffering from this type of disorders and diseases, because this is not a substitute for treatment. But after treatment, they can go for mindfulness meditation and other meditation to have a overall good health, well-being, and life. So these are the meditation. This is prayer meditation. Guided meditation is there. Visualization is there. And there are, for any meditation, we should go for breathing meditation first and then other meditations. This is about mantra meditation or chanting meditation, by which we can also bring healing energy in the cellular level, and which helps in our good health, well-being, and life. This is all. And the last slide is, so the benefit is all without any side effects, except a happier, healthier, calmer version of you. Thank you. It's a lot. Namaste.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Today you explained us how we can manage a good and healthy well-being with practicing mindfulness and meditation. We are privileged to have you in this webinar, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. For the next segment, I would like to invite our next speaker, Dr. Dimpi Mahanta. She is founding head of Department of Psychology, Cotton University, Guwahati, Assam, India. As we all know, Assam is the biggest tea producing state. Dr. Dimpi is a dynamic personality in the field of psychology. Ma'am, please be on the main screen. Your topic is workplace employees' well-being.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So much, ma'am. Very good morning to all the participants in the webinar. I congratulate Shri Agrasen Kanya Postgraduate College for organizing this webinar on such a relevant issue, and that is local well-being issues and challenges. And my topic is going to be on employee well-being. I request Manjari, maybe, who's there to operate the
Priyanka.
Priyanka, kindly, help me out with this.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
So, coming towards employee well-being, when you talk about well-being is the state of being comfortable, and it is a state of being healthy and happy. And nowadays, well-being has become, I would say, it has become a buzzword in any workplace setting. And as far as the employee well-being is concerned, every organization is focusing on employee well-being. The reason because a healthy workforce is considered to be a productive workforce. A happy workforce is considered to be a productive workforce. So now going ahead, next slide, please. In this slide, you can see that employee well-being is subjective and dynamic. So in every organization, please go back to the earlier slide. In every organization, it is employees' interpretation of an event rather than the event itself. So that is what is employee well-being all about. Now, that is the reason why it is so very subjective. The way I interpret an event, another employee may interpret the same event in a different way. So that is the reason why we say that employee well-being is subjective as well as dynamic. It captures what's important to employees themselves. It is multidimensional. I'll talk about the multidimensionality of this concept. And it also varies between sectors, organizations, and roles. Next slide, please. Now, if you see in this slide, the next slide, employee well-being basically consists of various dimensions. Now, you see there is physical dimension, there is emotional dimension, there is social well-being and intellectual well-being. All of these together, they comprise what we call as employee health and well-being. Now, physical well-being is the ability to perform physical activities. The main aspect is mainly the disease, injury, exercise, nutrition, lifestyle, etc. The emotional well-being is the ability to master personal emotions. It is related to aspects of stress, satisfaction, etc. Social well-being is the ability to interact with others. It's related to aspects like relationship, bonding in the organization, belongingness, etc. And the intellectual well-being is mainly focusing upon the ability to expand knowledge and skills. And here the aspects which are related are like learning, development, creativity, and productivity. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah. So now Canadian Center for Management Development gave a very long definition, in fact, of employee well-being. I would just like to read it out quickly. Employee well-being involves maintaining a healthy body by making healthy lifestyle choices with respect to diet, exercise, and leisure, and developing an attitude that will enable employees to enhance self-confidence and self-respect, to become emotionally resilient, to develop a sense of purpose, fulfillment, and meaning, to possess an active mind that is alert, open to new ideas and experiences, curious and creative, and to possess a network of supportive and nurturing relationships. It's quite a long definition, but ultimately, if you ask me in one line, it is talking about nothing but what I just mentioned in the previous slide. It talks about physical well-being, emotional well-being, social well-being, and the intellectual well-being. Together, they comprise what we call as employee well-being. Next slide, please. Yes. Now, employee well-being needs to be embedded in the day-to-day business of every organization. Tehrani et al., his work is pretty famous, and he spoke about well-being at work consisting of 5 main domains. And these 5 domains are physical domain, values domain, personal development domain, emotional domain, and work or organization domain. And each of these domains have their respective set of elements. So I will be speaking about it in the subsequent slides. Let's go on to the next one. Now, this slide talks about the benefits of workplace well-being. Now, if you see, when any organization has a workplace well-being program in place, so it gives a positive and caring image of the organization to the outside people. Second, it improves the staff morale. The motivation, the morale of the employees, is high when you have a good employee wellness program at place, focusing on the employee well-being. Reduces staff turnover. That means the number of employees leaving the organization, the count comes down. It reduces absenteeism, increases productivity, reduce healthcare or insurance costs. Quite often, organizations end up spending in millions, in healthcare as well as insurance costs. When your focus is going to be on employee well-being, then automatically the cost will come down, and also reduce risk of fines and litigation. As far as the benefits to the employee is concerned, a safe and healthy work environment will lead to enhance in self-esteem of the employees, reduce stress, improvement in morale, increase job satisfaction, increase skills for health protection, improved health, and finally improved sense of well-being. So we can well assume that yes, the employee well-being is extremely important to every organization, and that is possibly the reason why more and more number of organizations are now coming up with various kinds of wellness programs in focusing primarily on employee well-being. Next slide, please. Now, I just mentioned about the domains of well-being, the 5, next slide. Yeah, 5 domains of well-being. If you can see, each of the 5 domains are interrelated. The first is the physical domain, emotional, personal development, values, and organizational work. Each of the 5 domains are interrelated to each other. you can see the arrows having, with both the ends, So it shows the interrelationship between every domain of as far as the well-being is concerned. Now, let us go to each of the domains. It is very, very important to focus on this, and my presentation is primarily going to focus on these domains. The first domain is the physical domain. As I told you initially, that every domain has a set of elements. Now, physical domain consists of these following 5 set of elements: physical health, mental health, working environment, physical. The examples of well-being activities or initiatives taken by the organization include exercise programs. Then health education and awareness programs are initiated mostly, and also health checkup camps that help in physical health. Mental health can be improved with the help of work-life balance targets, conflict resolution training, relaxation techniques. By training the people on all these aspects, we can actually improve their mental health. Working environment can be improved with the help of chilling out areas, ergonomically designed working areas which are comfortable for the employees to operate, ecologically sound design. Physical safety is concerned, focus can be on personal safety training, safe equipment, safe working practices, and accommodation is like home working, health and safety. Moving on to the next domain, that is the values domain. Next slide, please. The values domain consists of the 4 elements like ethical standards. As we all know, ethics play a very, very important role in every organization. Now, examples of well-being activities can be focusing on value-based leadership, corporate governance. These are the initiatives that are taken usually by the organizations in order to improve the ethical standards. Now we know nowadays multinational corporations are there. There are employees working from different countries. They are all working together in one organization. So there's so much of workforce diversity prevalent in organization. That is why the second element is diversity. Here, every organization must provide equal opportunities. It is the need of the hour that we value the differences rather than suppressing them. We provide cultural engagement. In other words, I would like to say that we need to celebrate diversity. That is very important. Psychological contract can be improved with the help of focusing on job satisfaction, employee commitment, negotiating change. Spiritual expression can be again focused upon with the help of activities like recognizing and beliefs. There will be employees from different religions, different spiritual practices. Organizations need to give importance to this particular aspect. So this together, they form the value domain. Moving on to the next is the personal development domain. Next slide, please. Here, there are 4 elements: autonomy, career development, lifelong learning, and creativity. When I talk about autonomy, organizations must focus upon team consultation and decision making. Whenever an employee is consulted in the decision making process, they feel that they are a part of the organization. They get the sense of autonomy. So that is very, very important in this particular domain, which is called as personal development domain. Career development opportunities can be like providing mentoring, guidance, self-awareness, mid-career audits. Very, very important because many times employees also experience midlife crisis. So mid-career audit plays a very important role. Career breaks and sabbaticals are also necessary, and coaching. Lifelong learning is the next element. Access to learning, technical or vocational learning, etc. And creativity. Innovation and creativity, workshops and awards, etc. should be provided to the employees. The next domain is emotional domain. Here, the main elements are positive relationships, resilience. Please move on to the earlier slide. Please go on to the earlier slide. Earlier one. Emotional domain. I was talking about emotional domain. Isse pehle wala. So here, positive relationship, here the initiatives that can be taken are assertiveness training and team building. Then resilience can be improved with the help of resilience building groups, self-awareness training, mindfulness, as ma'am had also said in the previous presentation, it is very important in improving the resilience. Emotional intelligence can be improved with the help of EQ assessment and training, anger management, emotional labor, etc. Social responsibility can be again improved with the help of community activity, recycling, energy saving, pollution prevention, public transport. And the last domain, next slide, work or organization domain. Here, the elements which are there, next slide please, that is work and organization domain are change. Change.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, please conclude the speech.
Yeah. Another 3 minutes are there. I'll just finish it up within that time.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, under work or organization domain, the elements are change management, work demands, autonomy, and job security. Now, change is the only concept, is the only constant, and every organization needs to focus upon managing the change effectively. And that's why change readiness training is very important. Work demands, person job fit is required, autonomy, job security can be provided with the help of flexible working hours, shift working, etc. Next slide, please. Now, during this COVID-19 pandemic, now following are the few, I would say, workplace interventions that can be taken up by the organizations. Please go on to the next slide. First is introducing the upskilling program. Next slide, please. First, it is very important for every employer to provide upskilling, programs to the employees, because that way, it can provide it through online tools also for imparting valuable training and upskilling, and that will lead to increased engagement, employee engagement, and also the employees will experience a sense of commitment and gratitude within them, and that will again improve their performance in long term. The second efficiency is offering space for engagement. In these stressful times, it is very important that employees sometimes feel low motivation. So it is important that we provide them with various kinds of virtual activities like educational webinars, the way we are organizing it. Going on fast to the next slide. Show that you care. Employees need to, employers need to make the employees feel important and that they care for the employees by coming up with counseling services, and various kinds of health-related questions can be answered from online sessions. Giving recognition to the employees is very important to enhance well-being, and that can be provided. Maybe a simple word of appreciation can go a long way. And fostering flexibility, not being too strict with the deadlines during this time especially, and give them that flexibility to operate, and building a strong communication. At the end, I would just like to say that a happy and healthy workforce is a productive workforce, and so every organization needs to focus on employee well-being and make it the topmost priority. With these words, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the powerful presentation and on the topic. Today, you gave us an array of light to how to maintain well-being at the workplace. Thank you so much, ma'am. Before proceeding to our next segment, our Vice Chancellor sir is online. Sorry, Pianjali Joisha ma'am, हमें आपको थोड़ा वेट कराना पड़ेगा. Sir have no time. हमें उनको थोड़ा लाइन पे लेना होगा for the valedictory session. Okay, ma'am. Our heart is not filled yet, but it's a time to a big good boy. So, in the next segment of the program is valedictory, which will be honored by Chief Guest Professor T.N. Singh Sir, is the Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapeeth, Varanasi, India. What should I say about such a dynamic personality? Everyone knows Sir is a renowned face of the geology. Sir is a bunch of keys to many talents and knowledge as well. He's our best basketball player, our best professor, finest vice chancellor, and most of all, a very good pure soul filled with humbleness. There was a list of vice chancellors in the history of Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapeeth. You proved and showed the world the ideology for which this institution was made up for. You have beautified many future of the nation by improvising the strategies of the many things. Sir, if I will express my views, it will take a day or a couple of days to elaborate your persona. Sir, please honor the valedictory session.
मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah.
Pranam, sir.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you very much for introducing with a very nice words. I am not sure whether I deserve these appreciation or not, but from my core of my heart, I honor and appreciate the words, and these words might be correct me wherever I am going wrong in future course of action. Thank you very much, and you have really started my introduction with putting something of the psychological correctness. So thank you very much. I'm extremely sorry to Timpi Mahapatra that due to me you have to rush with your slides in a very fast way. But anyway, you have conveyed your message in very nice manner. Now in this events and era of COVID, everybody is in the shaking ground, and everybody having a different kind of the thinking about the corona, and many people are very much fearful without understanding much. In this time where the closure of the universities and the lab, psychological scientists around the world are expecting new demand on their time, and as they adjust to the teaching remotely, overseeing dispersed lab and managing family also. So these are your responsibility being a psychologist. At the same time, many have found themselves on the front line of exploring the psychological factors that can help, I can say, to the public to understand the impact of the COVID in a very positive manner, where there is a challenge, but there is an opportunity. And a good psychologist always explore and expand and exploit the opportunity which is available during this. So most of this psychological forum, they are doing their best. Yes, there is a situation that can have both the things. For any situation, you have both positive and negative effect as a functioning of being a collective crisis. But the positive side, there is a sense that we are in all together, and we have many amazing examples of the people supporting one another. That will be the message which one take away from this COVID. Of course, the negative side, we have seen some people respond to with the sense that they did not protect it well. They have been not nicely, but these are you can say, the society which has the mixed type of feeling all the time. But the time has come and the people should start protect their own. Don't worry about this others. First you start charity and correctness from your own house. But many people are feeling both impulses at the same time. That is not correct. They are obviously going to feel fear because of the uncertainty. But what is certain, that we have to think about it, not the uncertainty. Uncertainty is always uncertain. And in Sanskrita, people say, whatever you have the uncertain, forget about that. Otherwise, you are going to lose the certain things also in your life. So that will be the very, very important things which one can think about once you are dealing with such a situation. But psychological people can save the climate or safety climate around the people, and by their conducive work, just like environment, health problem, employment engagement, all the things where I can call it a psychological safety climate, where people are most of the time vulnerable. But the psychologist can bring back and expand his or her potential. So that will be the things I think. Of course, there is a problem in the mental health, Many people are worried about that this mental health is our biggest problem these days. People are about 27-28%. Now it has come back before the COVID time, that 8.26 or 9%. I am not an economist, but just remembering and recalling and just telling to you. So these things are coming up. There is a positive sign. Though we have not opened up fully, we have not working on the full strength and full bench. 33%, 40%. People are working. And then we can reach up to that. Then I am looking in a very positive and passive manner that there is a possibility that India can bring back their original position very quickly, because if the 40% workforce, we can reduce the employment rate up to 8, which was just before starting the 23rd of the March, this COVID time, that was in February, March, at that level we have reached. So I think this is the very positive sign. And here I feel that the psychological people has given a too much tonic to the people of India that their mental health is strong. Otherwise, we cannot achieve these things. So I wish that we have a very nice discussion about this seminar, and you have very nicely organized. I am sorry that I have not given you the full time due to this other engagement, but I am extremely happy and delighted the way your presentations and other things have gone. And I appreciate and congratulate your manager, Shri Anil Jainji, your principal, Kumkum Malviya ji, and a very energetic and dynamic leadership of Dr. Sandhya Ojha ji. She has given her best to produce and bring so many psychologists together. And that will be really a challenge these days. Connecting the people is a challenge, not only because their willingness or unwillingness, but there is a connectivity. Connectivity is just like an issue. If we are speaking, we are disappearing sometimes because of the selectivity. No, means you can say this Wi-Fi or network problem. But in spite of that, we are trying to produce our best. I must congratulate once again, and I wish in future also we will continue to bring such type of events which can enhance and very effectively and efficiently the students will get benefit out of this. With these words, I once again congratulate you and thank you for inviting me in such an occasion. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind gesture. We highly appreciate your much needed presence. You are a role model for many of us. Today, you talked about the connecting people. Once it was a slogan of a company, now it will be a slogan used for Dr. Sandhya Ojha ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now for the last but not least, I will be privileged to invite Mr. Anil Kumar Jain, sir, Chief Patron of this international webinar and Manager, Shri Agrasen Kanya PG College, Varanasi, India. Sir, I humbly invite you to the main screen to deliver the vote of thanks. Respected sir, you might just mute.
मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Hello.
You are audible now, sir.
श्री अग्रसेन कन्या पीजी कॉलेज द्वारा आयोजित 2 दिवसीय इस वेबिनार में हमारे आज के मुख्य अतिथि माननीय श्री पीएन सिंह जी, जिनकी प्रेरणा से ही आज हम ये वेबिनार आयोजित कर सके हैं। उनकी सरलता, सहजता और जिस तरीके से वो हम सबको प्रेरणा देते हैं, ये हम सबके लिए एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। और हमारे कभी भी कम समय में भी इनविटेशन पर वो हम सबके साथ जुड़ जाते हैं और ऐसा लगता नहीं कि वो हमारे मुखिया हैं। वो हमें एकदम अपने परिवार की तरीके से और जिस तरीके से हमें गाइड करते हैं, शायद उसका वर्णन इन शब्दों में नहीं किया सकता। हमारी संचालिका जी ने माननीय कुलपति महोदय के बारे में जो कुछ भी कहा है वो बहुत कम है और शायद वो सूरज को दिया दिखलाने के समान है। माननीय कुलपति जी का हमेशा हम सब पे वरदहस्त होता है। आज के हमारे इस वेबिनार में हमारे जो भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, जो हमारे मुख्य वक्ता हैं और हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए जो भी लोग हैं, उन सबका मैं बहुत बहुत हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं कि उन्होंने हमारे साथ जुड़कर और हम सबको इतना ज्यादा प्रेरणा दी है। विशेष रूप से हमारी प्राचार्य डॉक्टर कुमकुम मालवी जी, जो कि हमेशा इस तरीके के कार्यक्रमों में सहभागिता के साथ साथ और प्रेरणा भी देती हैं, उनका भी मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं। हमारी डॉक्टर संध्या ओझा जी, जिन्हें मैंने बहुत कम समय में इतने अच्छे से और इतनी अच्छी इंटरनेशनल वेबिनार कराई है, मैं उनको भी उसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। हमारे साथ जो भी लोग जुड़े हुए हैं, जिन लोगों ने मिलकर इस सफल आयोजन को सफल बनाया है, हम उन सबको पुनः पुनः धन्यवाद देते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, sir, for being connected with us, and thanks for the vote of thanks session. Now let's proceed to our session, which we left in between. Our next speaker, straight away from Sri Lanka. We welcome you, ma'am, Dr. Sandhya Ojha. She is professor in clinical psychology at the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka. And her today's topic is nature and upliftment of global well-being.
Thank you, Professor Ojha, for inviting me. And I hope everybody hears me okay. Is it all right? Everybody can hear?
Ma'am, we can hear you, but your voice is very low.
Yeah, I'll hold my hands free.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So let me just put my presentation. So I'm trying to put my presentation, but it's not coming on. Is that?
Priyanka, ma'am, kindly give us.
Fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Can you hear? Can you see? Yes. Is that
Yes, ma'am. It is.
All right. Fantastic.
Yes, ma'am. It is.
Okay. So I have been invited to talk about global well-being. That is, so it's a kind of a new area. And why we need to talk about global well-being as opposed to well-being in a particular country is because mental illness, we know, is a global problem, and that globally 1 in 4 will have a mental health problem in their lifetime. So because of this global issue, the response to mental well-being has to be a global response as well as a community or a national response. So what do we mean by global mental well-being? So it's kind of a new area. We know that that access to interventions, mental interventions in the low and middle income countries is quite less. So for example, research on mental well-being looks into 90% of research publications on mental well-being caters to only 10% of the world's population, and that is for the Caucasian population. So publications on mental health are only 3% coming from low and middle income countries. I remember about 15 years ago, I had written an article on child sexual abuse in Sri Lanka, which I thought was quite informative. I submitted this article to a journal in the US on child sexual abuse, and immediately the reviewer had said, we don't want to hear anything from Asia. All what these Asian psychologists talk about, we know stuff, we want to know stuff coming from the Western world. So that's the kind of attitude that has been there in the global sphere in certain aspects in our life. So that therefore within that comes this aspect on global mental well-being, which says that this is not the way to go forward, but rather we need to offer mental health interventions across the globe and look into the needs across the globe, particularly in low to middle income countries, which has an infrastructure and a personal deficit. Like, for example, in Sri Lanka, we have 22 million people, but only 50 clinical psychologists and 2 social psychologists, 1 counseling psychologist. So we are personal deficit. And these intervention has to be culturally relevant rather than Western centric. We are very quick to bring stuff from the Western world and try to implement it in our own cultures rather than looking at culturally relevant interventions. But these culturally relevant interventions has to be evidence-based, not because it's part of our culture and we think it works. It has to be also researched on. Global mental well-being also refers to the fact that we can't rely only on the biological model of mental health, because we do know that in mental health, psychiatry is a very dominant role, dominant profession, and sometimes non-medical people like psychologists tend to borrow the biological model. But global mental well-being says, no, we have to look at all aspects of mental issues, not only the biological, but also social, cultural, and psychological. Global mental well-being is a rights-based approach, which says that people have the right to receive such care and to provide funding for research activities in low to middle income countries. So now the second part of my 3-part presentation, we're looking to what are the factors that are considered under global mental well-being. There are so many factors, but I just want to talk to you about a few. The first factor that affects global mental well-being is the position of women. We know that anxiety and depression and certain other mental conditions have a higher prevalence in women, and there are many reasons for that. We know, for example, women and girls are more subjected to violence in many parts of the world, I would say cutting across the world. Women and girls have far great caregiving duties, and they're underpaid, and they're in more informal work. And this kind of a dimension, this kind of a dynamic is seen particularly in our part of the world too. So if we really want to look at improving global mental well-being, we need to look at the unique position of a woman, to work as psychologists for equal pay of women, to overcome toxic masculinities that are prevalent in some parts of our world, which puts a woman down as a lower second-grade person. Psychologists need to work on those policies and cultural nuances if you want to improve global mental well-being. Another aspect that factors into global mental well-being is education and employment. We know as psychologists that education and employment is a key protector of mental health. We know that across many of the mental illnesses. For example, in depression, we know that a person with high education is associated with better outcomes for depression. And most importantly, employment is a protective factor. The reason why education and employment has an impact on mental health, it's debatable, but there are many factors for it, but we won't go there. But in global mental health improvement, what can psychologists do? Psychologists can work with governments and policies to ensure access to education in marginalized communities in our countries. They can work on fair employment opportunities. For example, business psychologists in France have brought out a policy document okayed by their parliament that at least for each new business, there should be at least 1 woman director. So that business psychologists could work on workplace policies to ensure education and employment, fair employment opportunities for women. The third factor that impacts global mental well-being is poverty. We know that poverty is greatly associated with mental health outcomes. And not only that, poorer people have lesser access to mental health services. So poverty brings about a vicious cycle. So if you're poor, the stressors of the poverty will give a person more chances of getting a mental condition. And with that mental condition, they can't access care too. So it's a vicious cycle. And poverty is a great issue in low to middle income countries where global mental well-being works on. It There's massive socio-political roots. So what could a psychologist do in the area of poverty? I know that community psychologists work on that, but more work has to be done if you're going to improve global mental well-being in the factor of poverty. Refugees and asylum seekers are many in low to middle income countries. We know that refugees and asylum seekers are 5 times more likely to experience mental health problems compared to the general population. And psychosocial work in the context of refugee camps, displacement camps, with asylum seekers who may not know the language of the host country has to be really worked on. I know that in Bangladesh with the Rohingya refugees, there's a lot of great work that has been happening, and that kind of work needs to be implemented in other parts of the world too, where there's a great number of refugees and asylum seekers in low to middle income countries. Discrimination and violence is another factor that affects and is studied by global mental health. We know that in our part of the world, in Asia, discrimination is present at every level. Caste is discriminated on. Class is discriminated on. Your skin color. That's why Fair and Lovely may be having a good market out there. The fairer you are, you have less discrimination. If you're a boy child, you may be less discriminated on. Certain religions are better accepted. There's more violence in our part of the world. There's a lot of social unrest, protests, strikes, whatnot is commonplace. Political instability, governments changing sometimes twice a year brings about a lot of upheaval in the mental health of people. Wars, child marriages, toxic masculinities, they're all forms of discrimination and violence. So all of these has an impact on global mental health. So when you talk about global mental well-being, psychologists working in this domain would be working on issues like position of women, poverty, etc., etc. So finally, I'm going to discuss with you in my last slide about what can we do to uplift global mental health as a psychologist. There's a lot that we could do, but I'm just going to discuss some of the practical things that we could. Political engagement is really important because we know that in global mental well-being, political goodwill is so essential for psychologists. Now, there's a lot of, you might say, well, poverty, refugees is a political problem. That is true. There are socio-political roots involved. But engaging politicians and political interests has a positive too. So, for example, some of you may know that about 2 decades ago, I think, Sri Lanka had the highest suicide rate in the world. It was there for many years. However, mental health professionals in our country engaged with parties that was there at that time from the Presidential Task Force on Suicide Prevention. The politicians gave their 100% backing for these mental health professionals. With this politically encouraged Presidential Task Force, the government was able to implement decisions which then led to Sri Lanka coming down on suicide rates. So you can really work with these agencies to bring about change in our country. A second way in which we can work is really getting funding for mental health research and services in our countries. So for example, we as psychologists can actively harness funds. We can look for international collaborations in doing research that is required for improving global mental health. So for example, in Sri Lanka, many of our psychologists are currently working on prevalence studies, psychometric validations, making culturally appropriate mental health interventions, building a repository of interventions that are Sri Lankan but evidence-based. We are working on distilled psychological interventions. They are time efficient. And also harnessing the spiritual wealth of our country and South Asia as intervention. Now, for example, one of the speakers spoke about mindfulness interventions that comes from Buddhism 26 centuries ago, which is our part of the world. And we have a lot of such cultural heritages as psychological interventions that we can research on, get funds to research on, publish, and offer it as part of our own. The third dimension in improving mental health globally is to bring on awareness of mental illnesses. in our communities. Now, we do a lot of awareness programs in the community, but it is still not enough, isn't it? A lot of people don't know what suicide is, why people commit suicide, what is depression, what is violence against women. People do not know. Now, in Sri Lanka, for example, I work at the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Colombo. I mentor a group of students by a club called Golden Z Club. And what we have been doing over the years is through medical students, we have been doing a lot of mental health awareness projects for the community. In fact, yesterday we started a project on violence against women. So they make little video clips and posts, and we put it through networks of doctors, physiotherapists, nurses, non-governmental organizations, trying to put these informative messages to the grassroots levels of our community, just building awareness of mental illnesses.
Sorry to interrupt in between, ma'am. It's a humble request. Please conclude your speech.
Thank you. Just one, let's do this with the 2 minutes. So, thank you. So the next area that we could work on is training other health workers on psychological interventions. So, for example, I have a PhD student who's a nursing officer who's training other nurses on how to use motivational interviewing on ischemic heart disease patients. Then a second PhD student of mine is trying to train physiotherapists on psychological interventions to manage pain in knee arthritis. So in order to improve global well-being, we need to give our knowledge to other health workers who will also deliver the goods. And finally, training community and laypersons on providing mental health support. There's a lot of evidence that show that if we impart our psychology knowledge and information on interventions to the regular man and woman in the community, they also can support their people. For example, with the World Health Organization in Sri Lanka, for about 2 years, we have been doing a project called Manohari, where we go to the grassroots levels of our country and we train grassroots level women on anger management, how to overcome envy, how not to be violent about their children. And these women take this knowledge and go back into their villages and train other people. So these are the kinds of things that we can do as psychologists to improve collectively global mental well-being of our world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You guided us in such a nicest way of global well-being. We really enjoyed your session. That was really full of nicest information. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being in the webinar. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, like this, as of now, we have discussed about every aspect of well-being on global level, about its issues and challenges. The time was so less and the ocean of knowledge is yet to be filled with. The extremely knowledgeable and versatile experts with their presentation with full ease made the viewers more greedy. Hope we will meet soon with another issues and guidance to deal with the problematic situation. I will thank Dr. Kumkum Malviya ma'am for the continuous support and guidance. Ma'am, because of you, this international webinar have been possible. And Dr. Sandhya Ojha ma'am organized it in a very short span, and it became very successful. Today, the session was all over and it was all really successful. I will now invite my co-moderator, Dr. Mukesh Srivastava, to kindly read the webinar report.
Thank you, Dr. Akriti. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thanks a lot to invite me for such a grand work. It's our great honor to have such a great personalities and giant academicians of the fraternity who have blessed with their words of knowledge for the last 2 days in this international webinar on global well-being. This period of Corona pandemic has disturbed each and every aspects of life. Either it is social structure or it is personal adjustment. In this era, this international webinar will lay a foundation of better adjustment, better understanding, and better development of personal as well as social life. For the last 2 days, we have heard a lot of good and knowledgeable ideas, things. First of all, I would like to mention here our chief guest, Professor R.C. Mishra, former head Department of Psychology, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, India, who has presented a tremendous explanation of spiritualism in well-being, how an individual can attain a better lifestyle, internally secured and externally safe with the help of spiritual dogmas. He had mentioned 4 line of controls where the well-being has been defined. His explanation with the help of positive psychology, spiritual psychology, has much more influential in the understanding of happiness, that is well-being. He had mentioned that there are 4 line of explanation. The first one is philosopher's view, second one is economist's view, third one is medical scientist's view, and the last one, more important, is the psychologist's view. The psychological view states that the state of feeling well, the positive emotions, mood, and life satisfaction is the fundamental of well-being. I thank from the deep core of my heart to Professor R.C. Mishra sir to be here in this international webinar. And later on, Professor V.N. Sharma sir presented his views regarding global well-being. He had mentioned 2 most important things, 2 most important words. He said that careless and useless. In regard to youths, he had said that the youths are considered as useless, but in his view, in his explanation, they have been used the less. They have been care the less. They are not careless, they are not useless, but they have been used the less, care the less. With the ideology of Swami Vivekananda, they must have been treated in such a way that their utility for the society may be conceived in such a way that they not be considered themselves as useless, and the society never considered themselves as careless, because the youths are the backbone of our society, our social structure. Our next speaker, Professor Promila Batra, Professor of Psychology and Dean Faculty of Social Sciences, Mahasi Dayanand University, Rohtak, India, has presented some family values, explaining with the help of some TV serials, Saas, Bahu, soap, daily soap operas. It's very important aspects of life, that how we can adjust in such a situation where entire community is facing some fear of life. The responsibility of the women, either inside the family or outside the family, have taken much more importance and much more responsibilities. Our next speaker, Rani Shukla Vijayan ma'am, who is a cognitive behavior therapist and certified alcohol and drug counselor from Virginia, United States of America, has presented how the yoga and meditation can help the people to be happy, to overcome the drawbacks of the daily lives. She had mentioned various types of meditations and various examples of yoga for the better lifestyles and living strategy. Next, our next speaker in this line Professor Ramji Lal, former professor and head, Department of Applied Psychology, Mir Bahadur Singh Purvanchal University, Jaunpur, India, has tremendously presented with the example of Gita. Gita is an explanation from the Bhagwan Sri Krishna to Arjun. As our one more speaker mentioned here that Bhagwan Sri Krishna is a great psychoanalyst. I will mention her name later on. But the role of Gita in the well-being is much more important, where individual has forget the value, norms, and cultural patterns of lifestyle. I would like to say here that the complete package of well-being has been described by Bhagwan Sri Krishna in Gita. When Arjun refused to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, it was very much problematic for Bhagwan Sri Krishna. Then how to achieve your happiness? It's very explanatory word that how you can achieve happiness in the battle, in the field of war. But Professor Ramji Lal sir very well explained that how one can use the Gita for the happiness, for the well-being, either it is mental, it is physical, cultural, social, or economical. So I thank to Professor Ramji Lal sir to remind all of us the importance of Gita, our epic, that we have slowly in the process of forgetting. Our young generation most probably has forgotten the importance of Gita. But Professor Ramji Lal sir has reminded all of us to go through Gita. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker in this line, Dr. Narendra Thagunas from Nepal. He is a Vice President, Association of Psychologists in Nepal, faculty, PK campus, Tribhuvan University, Nepal, had presented various dimensions related to suicide prevention. How we can understand with the behavior of a man that he will commit suicide. In his slide, he has put various indicators that may be useful for a psychologist, for a therapist, to control, to prevent, to check the incidence of suicide, especially in this era of coronavirus impacts, when mental state has been disturbed of most of the people of the community. So I convey my thanks to Dr. Narendra Thaguna to be here with his tremendous research works to enlighten us regarding suicide, its prevention and self-care during this crisis. Thank you, sir. Our today's dignitaries are Dr. Sachin Jain. He is a director and associate professor, University of Providence, Great Falls, MP, United States. Dr. Sachin Jain has very well presented work-life balance in higher education. How one can make a balance between this condition and how one can attain the balance between these two when you are working in this pandemic situation. He mentioned that work-life blend must be explained. He also emphasized on daily practices, and most important, what he had mentioned here, that the creativity aspect of life must be emphasized, where he has discussed the role of music therapy in the form of the word he has used, like flute. The music therapy is also much important, taking the much importance place in now the work of psychologists and psychoanalysts. He has also mentioned various challenges and values of the life when we are living in a such a crisis, such a pandemic situation. Thank you, sir, to be here. Our next speaker, Dr. Kamal U.A. Chaudhary from Bangladesh. He is Associate Professor, Department of Clinical Psychology, Dhaka University, and Program Director, Nasirullah Psychotherapy Unit, Dhaka University, Bangladesh. He has presented about the tools to thrive amidst global crisis. What are the factors which prevent us to go ahead to be forwarding towards a safe and secure life? He had used various indicators. He has mentioned that fears related to corona infections have disturbed a lot of people. They have problems of coping regarding problems faced by humankind. Thank you, sir, to be here and enlighten us with your great and researches. Our next speaker in this line is Dr. G.K. Nanda, sir, who is former principal, Kamala Nehru Women's College, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, India. He has given us key points regarding how we can be happy with the use of our spiritual ideology, how we can attain happiness. One thing he had mentioned here, that our attitude towards life is much important. If we have positive attitudes, then our life will go through a positive way, positive path. When we have a negative approach, negative attitude towards life, then our life must be ahead towards negativity, negative path. Thank you, sir, for being here, and thank you for explaining the Indian context of spirituality. And one more thing, what you have explained here, that Indian context of happiness, getting happiness is much more easier than to the Western concept. This is a good one approach to be happy. How one can easily be happy. It's a very much easier approach. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot to be here. Our next speaker in this line is Dr. Sanghamitra Sahu Sen Gupta, madam, who is a health psychologist and psychotherapist situated at Kolkata, India. She has presented about mindfulness and meditation. Her 4F, which I have noted here, her 4F, fight, flight, freeze, fog out from the situation. 4F is a much more important. All the psychologists, psychotherapists, psychoanalysts must emphasize and use this 4F. How to combat with the situation, it is very much important. 4F, fight, flight, freeze, fog out. And what madam, the next madam had explained it, self with REA, which I have concluded here. Self with REA means relation, analysis, and education. Self-relation, self-analysis, and self-education. These three must be used and analyzed by the psychologist, what we are missing in our day-to-day work and practices. Thank you, ma'am. And later on, she had explained very well about mindfulness. Mindfulness is a lifestyle, choice of lifestyle, living strategy, that is awareness, acceptance, and attention. This is experiential, which is born out from the theoretical approach of Buddhism. Thank you, ma'am, to provide us such a great, tremendous knowledge about mindfulness, lifestyle, and your emphasis about the psychotherapist and psychologist that must be used in coming days, especially in this corona condition. Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker in this international webinar is Dr. Dimpy Mahanta, founding head, Department of Psychology, Cotton University, Guwahati. She has presented one of the most important areas which must have to be covered in this international webinar, because this crisis, this situation had tremendously affected the workers, the people who are employees. So she had presented about employees' wellness, how an organizational setup structure, and how the employees can be attaining well-being with the use of various indicators, domains, 5 domains of well-being she had explained here. She has emphasized on positive relationships, emotional intelligence, social responsibility in her explanation. Thank you, ma'am, to be here with us and to enlighten us with your great researches. Thanks a lot. Our last speaker of today is Dr. Pianjali Day-2 from Sri Lanka. She is professor in clinical psychology at the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, who had presented nature and upliftment of global well-being. What is global illness? How we can be strong? How we can attain global mental well-being? In this regard, she has also mentioned the position of women in family, society, what the impacts are they realizing, and how they can be uplifting in the family, how they can be strain themselves with their values, their words. Madam has mentioned one important thing here, that the training for laypersons, health workers on psychological parameters, the training of laypersons and health workers must be provided in such a way that the psychological parameters be there, because without psychological parameters, psychological indicators, it is not possible for a professional to treat the problem, to handle the situation. Thanks a lot of ma'am to be here in this international webinar, which is conducted at the holy land of Varanasi, a land of tradition and modernity, which has spreaded around the globe that the well-being is a terminology, is an experience which has been born out from our spiritual ideology. Our speakers, our esteemed speakers, such as Professor G.K. Nanda sir, Professor Ramji Lal sir, has mentioned that the spiritualism is much importance in our life. If we are living this type of terminology, theology, then we can't be happy. We can't live in a condition of peace, safety, and security. So thanks to all, thanks to the our organizing body, thanks to chief patron of this international webinar, Anil Kumar Jain sir, who is manager Shri Agrasen Kanya Postgraduate College, Varanasi. Thanks to all. Thanks to Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapeeth, Professor T.N. Singh sir. Thanks to all the participants, delegates who gave their precious time to be here to make such a successful international webinar, a grand successful inter-webinar. Thanks to all. Thanks. Now I request Dr. Akriti to take over the charge. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukesh sir. Thank you for the brief report and detailed report. Actually, you presented about the webinar, and that was so very well. Thank you so much. Psychoastrotherapy is the new emerging field of psychology, and the founder is Mr. N.G. Sharma from the Department of Psychology, Shri Agrasen Mahila PG College, Varanasi, India. Congratulations, sir. I would like to thank my virtual viewers from across the globe, from the South countries, my speakers, who have been there for live streaming, live Facebook streaming and the YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone. I would like to say in Hindi for my media partner. Thank you so much, Vivek. He's my friend. Thank you so much. Ma'am, I would like to invite Dr. Sandhya ma'am if she wants to say something. Please, ma'am.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर आकृति. बट थैंक्स की बात तो कुछ रहता नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी मैंने बहुत से ऐसे लोगों को, अपने सीनियर्स को देखा है जिनके प्रति कहना हमारा फर्ज बनता है. तो मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि कोई भी वेबिनार हो, सेमिनार हो या कोई भी काम हो, तो बिना आप सबके आशीर्वाद के वो कंप्लीट नहीं हो सकता. तो मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि ये कंबाइंड एफर्ट ऑफ मेनी पीपल टू ऑर्गेनाइज सच this type of international webinar. So there are others whose contribution was equally valuable, such as Professor N.P. Saxena sir and Professor Ramdilal sir, Pramila ji from Gurukul Kanri University, Haridwar, Ravi Jot from Ludhiana, Rita Khed from Mumbai, Chanda madam and Kumkum madam from Lucknow, Sachin Jain sir, USA, Manoj Tiwari from BHU, Kamaluddin Sheikh sir and Sangeeta ma'am, Gopal Nanda sir, Odisha, and Dr. Arun Kumar sir, Aarti Bakshi ma'am, Jammu Kashmir, Ashwini Kandari sir from Gujarat, and from Kerala, from Bangalore, and from Nellore. There are so many eminent scholars are here. So I express my gratitude to them, and many thanks to you all. Being organizer, I am very thankful to you all. And media partners, thank you so much. And I hand over to Dr. Akriti. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you so much that you have created such a beautiful platform, and in a very short span you organized it so well, and everyone came in a queue to manage it so perfectly. And we are, on the behalf of everyone, I congratulate you for the successful international webinar. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I will request everyone who is present on the screen, please stand up for the national anthem.
No, not national anthem. Okay, Vande Mataram, because it is not possible national anthem. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, sure.
I think Mukesh Srivastav, your co-partner, will start it.
Okay. Yes, sure. Sir, please start the Vande Mataram. Everyone, please stand on your place.
Not possible to stand. It's okay. No.
If anyone is not able to understand, they can sit.
Okay.
When you are physically fit, if you are fit, you can stand.
Yes.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujala Sufala Malayaja Shitala Sasya Shyamala Mataram, Vande Mataram, Shubhrajyotsna Pulakitayamini, Pullakusumita Drumadala Shobhini, Suhasini Sumadhura Bhashini, Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
घोष करिए भारत माता की जय।
जय हिंद।
जय हिंद, जय भारत,
जय भारत,
जय भारत।
जय। आप सबसे विदा लेते हैं हम सब
जी। और आप ईमेल आईडी डाल दीजिए, सबको रिक्वेस्ट कर दीजिए, सबको सर्टिफिकेट भेजने के लिए आप 1 जुलाई तक का समय दे दीजिए, सबके पास ईमेल से पहुंच जाएगा। ठीक।
Feedback links will be available after 3 days of the workshop, and e-certificates will be available by 1st of July, and paper will be published in the book in the end of the June.
अच्छा, many thanks रामजीलाल सर एंड अपने यहाँ के चीफ पैट्रन एंड ऑल दी सभी लोगों को, जो लोग भी छूट गए हैं उनको सभी को, चंदा रानी मैम, आभा मैम और दोनों ऑडिटर अपने डिपार्टमेंट के सभी लोगों को मेरा जो भी छूट गया है बहुत सारा धन्यवाद।
Thank you everyone. Thanks a lot.
आगे मिलने दुनिया के साथ हम आप सबसे विदा लेते हैं। आगे मिलने की शुभकामना के साथ समाप्त तो नहीं कर सकते बट विदा लेते हैं।
Dr. Mukesh, thank you. I don't know Agrasen ma'am, right? Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Actually, it's wonderful, ma'am.
It was really wonderful and so systemic also.
अपने चीफ पैट्रन डॉक्टर कुमकुम मालवी मैम और श्री अनिल कुमार जैन अपने चीफ पैट्रन की आदेश अनुसार हम इस कार्यक्रम को यहीं पर विश्राम देते हैं और पुनः मिलने की कामना के साथ हम लोग इस कार्यक्रम को एंड करते हैं। धन्यवाद, नमस्कार।
धन्यवाद मैडम,
धन्यवाद आप सभी को, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। प्रियंका को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, जिस तरह से टेक्निकल सेशन समाप्त किया।